Well, good morning, members. Good morning, people out there in YouTube land. This is the Township of Southgate Committee of Adjustment hearing, and the call to order will be at 9:02. My name is Martin Shipston. I am the chairperson of the Committee of Adjustment, and I call the meeting to order again at 9:02. The committee members include members of council. However, we sit at this table as the Committee of Adjustment and not as members of council. Jurisdiction lies solely with matters of consents and minor variation applications, and the secretary of the committee for today is Lindsay Green. This is a hearing to consider applications for minor variances and consents within the Township of Southgate and is held under the provisions of the Planning Act 1990. Excuse me. This hearing will be in accordance with the Provincial Planning Act, the Municipal Act, and the Township of Southgate official plan. Can I have a confirmation of the agenda? Moved by Barb, seconded by Brian. Be it resolved that the committee confirm the agenda as presented. Declarations of pecuniary interest, are there any? And if none, we can declare any time during the meeting. Seeing none, the adoption of the minutes. Can I get an approval of the minutes from the March 26, 2025? Moved by Jason. Joan. Be resolved that the committee approved the minutes from the March 26, 2025 meeting as presented. And we come to reports of municipal officers, PL 2025-032, a cancellation certificate request for 2684742 Ontario Inc. And Ken, you're going to take that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of committee. This item before you is a rather simple matter, but unusual. We don't get a lot of these requests, but in the Planning Act, when someone wishes to change their plans and undo a severance or a severance to divide a lot, they can request a certificate of cancellation, which basically performs the greatest function that we have in Word, which is undo. It basically removes that subdivision and puts it back to its old configuration, which is what they're seeking to do. We understand that they have changed their plans for and have a future development proposal, which will come forward in their applicable through the relevant planning applications that would be received later on. So this is the first step for them to begin a new process to develop the property in a new way. Those applications would then come forward through either council or committee, depending on what they would be. That's my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions from members? No? So Ken, they are still developing some kind of rental unit there then in the future?
Through the chair or through you, Mr. Chairman, at this point, we're not 100% sure of the full details of the proposal because this is the first step to basically put the lot back into one big configuration so that they can then solidify. There are some details in the report as to what we know, but we don't want to, I would just caution committee, that's what we know now. This will evolve as they undertake the application process.
Okay. Barb?
Thank you, through you, Chair. So just to clarify, this is not the property that was approved for back-to-back semis that is closer, that is on the same, on the same street that backs onto both Doyle and Artemisia.
Through the chair, that's correct.
Thank you.
That was my mistake. Okay, any further questions or comments? Seeing none, be resolved that the Committee of Adjustment receives staff report PL 2025-032 for information and that the cancellation certificate request be approved by this Committee of Adjustment as presented. Moved by Barb and Brian. Thank you, Ken. All in favor? Sorry. That is carried. And then on the next one, There's a hearing. I will ask that anyone speaking about an application to state their full name and address for the record. Please keep all remarks relevant to the consent or minor variance application before us, as the Committee of Adjustment has no jurisdiction on any other matters. Any material submitted to the committee for viewing will remain the property of the Committee of Adjustment and will be available for public viewing in the application file and may be placed online. Please direct all remarks and questions to myself, the chairperson. This will enable the hearing to be conducted in an organized manner. So the first one up is A425 Martin's Farm Services, Inc. And the purpose of this application is to allow conversion and expansion of existing buildings on the subject lands to allow retail sales of agricultural and building supplies, including manufacturing of roofing product for agricultural use. Committee of Adjustment is asked to interpret definitions of farm supply outlet, agricultural and bulk sales, farm equipment supply under Section 45(1)(b) of the Planning Act to include the proposed use of land as uses in the current rural commercial 4C4 zone as defined in general terms. So the effect of the application is to allow renovation, alteration, removal, and expansion of existing buildings to permit retail sales of agricultural and building supplies, including manufacturing of roofing product or products for agricultural use on this former commercial property in the C4 zone. The location of the subject land is Concession 1, Divide the 3, Part Lot 28, Concession 1, Division 1, Part Lot 29, Geographic Township of Egremont, Township of Southgate, with a civic address being 311-303 Highway 6. Is there a request for deferral or withdrawal of the application?
None received.
Thank you, Lindsay. May I please have clarification that the sign was posted?
Yes, through you, Chair, the sign was posted and notice was sent.
Okay, thanks again. So now I'll ask Junior Planner Victoria Mance to review all comments received and her report. There you go. Floor is yours.
Good morning. Jump right in. So as stated, it's a minor variance under Section 45(1)(b) of the Planning Act. They're looking to interpret the definitions of farm supply outlet, agricultural bulk sales, and farm equipment supplies. So they're proposing to remove about 325 square meters of the existing building and construct about 1,250 square meters addition to create one building with about 1,595 square meters. For the one building, two other buildings include 1,278 square meters and 173 square meters will also be proposed as part of the business. So the subject lands are located north of Highway 6 with over 400 meters frontage and 34 hectares in lot area, and currently contain 3 existing buildings. This includes a 1,287 square meter office building, a 670 square meter garage and shed, which is used for storage, and 173 square meter shed used for storage as well. So the site was once also used for agricultural equipment sales. They serviced John Deere since about 2006 and has been owned by the current owner since about 2021. So some comments received are shown on page 4 of staff's report. Public Works noted that safe access can be provided and road standards and entrance requirements are under MTO jurisdiction. Comments were received from Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority staff and Grey County staff following report writing as well. SVCA staff stated that the proposed work will be beyond or outside of their screening area, and they waived the requirement for a permit. But they're also working with the landowner to bring some outstanding fill and grading work into compliance with their policies. And Grey County staff are taking some steps to streamline development reviews, so they have not undertaken a formal review from a planning perspective, but they have taken a review from these county ecology staff who stated no concerns with the application. And just regarding comments pending from MTO, the application was submitted by staff to MTO, but have not received comments to date. We did include as part of the recommended conditions that any permits should be obtained from MTO or applicable agencies as well. So staff believe the proposal and recommended conditions are consistent with the provincial policy. And I can outline some of the 4 tests that we do for a minor variance. So it maintains the general intent and purpose of the township official plan as an agricultural related use, which is not limited in size. And the proposal maintains the protection of hazard lands and the aggregate resource areas on site as well. It also maintains the general purpose and intent of the township zoning bylaw due to the general nature of the definitions, which they're looking to interpret, or for a committee to interpret, which include farm supply outlet, agricultural bulk sales, and farm equipment sales, which is permitted in the rural commercial zone, which is C4, and any other applicable sections within the C4 zone. We believe it's also minor in that the proposal complies with regulations in the C4 zone as well, including parking, the locations, which is outside of the EP zone, and the accessory manufacturing of the agricultural roofing, which is to be accessory to the primary retail sales of the agricultural products, and will not have adverse effects on the area, and is what we feel appropriate reuse of a building and site. And lastly, we feel it's desirable for the appropriate development of the subject lands as well, in that the overall size and impact of the proposed agricultural related business occurs entirely within the C4 zoned area on site, and the proposed uses benefit the surrounding agricultural community as well, and conforms with the C4 zone. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the committee at this moment? Nope, seeing none. Actually, if the applicant is in attendance, and so would they care to come forward to present their case? Thank you. State your name and address there, sir. Yep.
Elmer Martin is my name, and the address of the property is, or do you want my home address? The address of the property is 311-303 Highway 6 North. So you just want a bit of a story on what I want to do?
Sure.
Well, the building that I'm taking away, I'd rather not. But I was just looking at it, and it's a post building. Half of it is a concrete foundation, the other half is a post building. And that post building, the posts are rotted off. And I think it's a bit of a bad idea to build a new building on a one with the posts rotted off. So I want to take that part where the posts are, the post building away, and put a foundation underneath it. And of course it'll get bigger. And I need, for my row former, I need 120 feet of linear space. So that's why it needs to get longer. And my hope is to supply the agricultural market with the agricultural building market with building products.
Okay, very good. Thank
That
you.
it?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
So do any members of the committee have any questions? Barb?
Thank you. And thank you through you to Victoria. Thank you for replying. I know it was short notice given the holiday. The total number of square feet in all buildings for this C4 zone will be in excess of 3,600 square meters, and there is no limitation in agricultural related, if it's agricultural related. My questions are more to the applicant about the type of roofing that they are manufacturing and what measures are, like, how will they limit it to agricultural buildings only? That's one question. And what fertilizer and chemicals are being stored or brought in to the facility? How will they be stored? And will the fire department be notified of any of those fertilizers and chemicals to ensure? And I guess that's probably at the site plan. But those are my questions. The roofing manufacturing being remaining agricultural only, because I'm sure that the agricultural roofing can be, be of benefit to residential as well, and fertilizers and chemicals. Thank you. Yeah. Respond, Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, well, as far as the fertilizer and chemicals is concerned, I'm not sure what you're talking about because there is no fertilizer and chemicals on that property, and I don't intend to bring any in. And as far as can the roofing be used for other uses? For sure it can, yes. And is that a problem if a customer comes in and wants a bit of steel? Is that a problem or?
I would have to ask Ken or, oh, sorry. Brian?
I would suggest it's not a problem. Primarily, you're going to be servicing the ag community, and if somebody wants to put steel on the roof of their house, I don't think that's a problem at all.
Fair enough. Yep, Barb?
I'm just concerned that this becomes an on-farm diversified use as opposed to an agricultural related use. So the primary client would be agriculture.
Yes.
Okay. And I apologize, but I thought I read in the staff report that there could be fertilizers, but maybe I mixed it up with
I think
another
it says
file.
the zoning is also good for fertilizer sales or something like that, but I have no intention of
Yeah.
doing fertilizer sales.
Thank you for clarifying
Yeah.
that. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too, Barb, because it did say agricultural and bulk, but that was just a definition of what could be there. So good to have that done. Okay, are there any others in attendance that would like to speak in support of this? Emily on screen? Oh, next file. Okay. Are there any others in attendance who would like to speak in opposition of this application? And seeing none, I will again ask the committee members if there is a requirement for further discussion. And seeing none, may I request a mover and a seconder to grant, refuse, or defer the application?
I'll move to grant.
And seconded by Jim. All in favor? That is granted. So be resolved that staff report PL 2025-033 regarding minor variance file A425 for 311303 Highway 6 be received for information, and that the committee consider approval for minor variance A425 to interpret definitions of farm supply outlet, agricultural bulk sales, and farm equipment supply under section 451B of the Planning Act to include the proposed use of land as uses in the current rural and commercial C4 zone are defined in general terms, that the proposed use of land includes retail sales of agricultural building supplies and the manufacturing of roofing products for agricultural buildings as an accessory use only, and that the remaining provisions of the rural and commercial C4 zone and other applicable sections of the zoning bylaw are met, that conditions of any permit obtained from the Ministry of Transportation Ontario are met, and that site plan approval apply to the variance. Any more discussion? Seeing none, the decision of the Committee of Adjustment is to grant the application based on the following reasons mentioned. And that's that. All in favor? Oh, we already voted, didn't we? Yes, all in favor. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We did have applications in the sevens as well. That's not being addressed today. It's just.
It's already done.
Sorry?
No, it's just a cancellation certificate today. The other files will come back at a later date,
Okay, so that'll be the next one then.
potentially.
Okay, good. Thanks, guys.
Okay, the next one on the docket is B125 Momentum Grain Farms, Inc., Emily Helmuth. Good morning, Emily. The purpose of application B125 is to sever the subject lands to create a lot containing a surplus farm dwelling. The severed lot would have approximately 170.2 meters frontage on Southgate Road 08, 54.8 depth, and 2.29 hectares lot area. The retained lot is irregular in shape with about 33 meters frontage on Southgate Road 8, 1,014.2 meters maximum depth, a 1941 hectares lot area. The effect of proposed consent application B125 is to create a lot containing the one-story brick surplus farm dwelling while retaining a roughly 19.41 hectare farm parcel with access to Southgate Road 8. Location of the subject land is Concession 4 West, Part Lot 19, Geographic Township of Proton, Township of Southgate, and the civic address is 085-670 Southgate Road 8. Was there a request for deferral or withdrawal of the application?
None received.
Thank you, Lindsay. May I please have clarification that the sign was posted?
Yes, through you, Chair, the sign was posted and notice was sent out.
Okay, thank you again. So now, Junior Planner Victoria, would you like to state all comments in your report, please?
Thank you. So as stated, it's an application for proposed surplus farm dwelling severance. The severed farm or farmhouse would be 2.29 hectares in lot area, contains the farmhouse and some trees. The retained lot is about 19.41 hectares and contains active farmland. The rezoning for both the severed and retained parcels is recommended as a condition of the consent to address deficiencies, which include lot frontage and lot area for both lots, and to prohibit any future construction of new residential dwelling of any type on the retained lot. The abutting lot to the east is also a 20-hectare parcel previously severed from the original 40-hectare lot with the subject lands. Larger farm parcels are in all directions as well. Sorry, I lost my thought there. All of the subject lands are also 20 hectares lot area and are undersized in the current A1 zoning and are designated agriculture and hazard lands in the official plan. To review some comments, they're on page 4 of staff's report. Public Works and Enbridge Gas identified no concerns with the application. Additional comments were received after report writing and included the Historic Saugeen Métis, the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority, and Grey County. The Historic Saugeen Métis had no objections to the application, and the SPCA stated that a permit is not required and had no concerns. Grey County staff did indicate that the subject lands are not a minimum of 40 hectares, and under their policy 5.2.31 cannot be met, and county staff are unable to support the proposed surplus farm dwelling severance. So the surplus farm dwelling on the severed lot would be about 2.29 hectares, and again contain the farmhouse with no active farmlands, as well as a woodlot, a lot line with trees and some planted tree rows as well. The retained parcel would be reduced to approximately 19.41 hectares with 30 meters frontage on Southgate Road 8 and contains active farmland used for cash crop. So for a surplus farm severance, the township's official plan does not state a limit on surplus farm severance retained lot sizes compared to the county official plan. So the subject lands are an existing lot of record, which is already undersized within the A1 zone, is 20 hectares, and was originally severed quite a long time ago from the 40-hectare parcel. So staff do note that there's a difference between the county and township official plan policies, where the county official plan policy permits one new lot, provided the original farm parcel is a minimum of 40 hectares. So township staff believe that the proposed still makes efficient use of the existing use of the subject lands, and recommended conditions still includes that both lots be rezoned to address any deficiencies and prohibit construction of any dwelling on the retained lot, and any other standard conditions, including taxes, legal description, and any other applicable agencies. Although the severed lot could be reduced in area and the trees removed for tillable land, the consent does not decrease the tillable acres of the retained land. The surplus farm dwelling will be within about 200 meters of some nearby barns, but MDS does not apply as there's no existing livestock buildings on the subject lands. So the rezoning is required as a condition of consent to recognize lot area and frontage of both parcels in the original A1 zone. So as to prevent construction of any home or any kind of retained lot, and township staff recommend approval of the application. Happy to answer any questions.
If the applicant is in attendance, if so, would they care to come and present their case? And that would be you, Emily. Would you like to comment?
Yeah, I'm here. I just don't really have many comments, just severing an excess dwelling to make use of it. I guess we have nobody that can live in it, so make use of it for extra housing.
Okay, fair enough. Any members of the committee have any questions? Brian?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Victoria, because the original farm was the 40 hectares, notwithstanding the fact that this is a surplus farm dwelling severance, if the proposal goes forward, will it not exceed the density of lots off of the original 40 hectares? Because now we're creating, or will have created, 2 severances from the original 40 hectares. And if this was originally a 40 hectare farm, we wouldn't allow 2 severances off of that because it's in the ag, correct?
Through you, Chair. I might have Bill, sorry, if he can jump in there to specify a little bit. Or Ken, if he's able to.
Go ahead.
Good morning.
Morning, Bill.
Bill and then Ken.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess this is a surplus farm severance. So the issue is not so much the density, although that is correct. The general policy in the rural designation is that you are allowed 1 severance per rural lot. This one's in the agricultural designation. And so this is where the county has in its policy for surplus farm severances a provision that the retained parcel or the original parcel for severance is 40 hectares in size. And then it goes on to say that there are 9 provisions that need to be met for a surplus farm severance. So this one meets all the 9 provisions for a surplus farm severance in an agricultural designation, but it does not meet the 40 hectare minimum lot size provision. As Victoria said, that 40 hectare lot size requirement is not in the township official plan. So the issue of density, you're correct. It would normally be 1 severance per lot, 40 hectare parcel in a rural designation, but we're in agriculture and we're dealing with surplus farms. So that's the difference. I think there's a difference in the policy. There is compliance with the county official plan and as far as what you normally look for a surplus farm severance, the 9 provisions in there, but there isn't compliance with that first requirement that it be a 40 hectare lot. And we've run into this with existing lots in the agricultural designation elsewhere, and we've been able to work that out. So with the county, I think Groves was the name that comes to mind. These were much smaller lots in agricultural designation, but so we still believe that it complies with the township official plan and there's sufficient compliance with the county official plan as well. Although that basic requirement on the 40 hectares isn't met, there really isn't any impact from the severance of the parcel, provided the conditions regarding rezoning the entire site to prohibit a future residential dwelling. It's not certainly going to make things worse.
Can I ask for clarification on the 40 hectare piece you're talking about?
If I may, through the chair, that's a county-wide policy that the lot before the surplus farm severance is granted is supposed to be 40 hectares in size.
Okay.
But that's not in the county provisions. So at some point previously, since this is a 20-hectare parcel, the original township lots were 40 hectares. So someone probably other than you maybe split this in half years ago.
Cause it's like it's a 100-acre
Yeah.
farm.
Yeah, I think it's split in half. I maybe you own both halves.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. It is. Yes, it is. It is split in half. We own both halves.
Yeah, okay.
And it's one, so it's, yes, you're right. It was split into two, and the house is on one of the halves but it is all together in, I guess, one parcel. I forgot that it was split in half. That makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Are you done, Bill?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Just to clarify, if I might, Mr. Chair,
Sure.
just to carry that on a little bit further. So I guess I understand the county versus the township policy or official plans. But the point I'm making is that because the original 40 hectares is now split in half, we're going to have 3 lots. There's going to be the 20 hectares to the east, the 1941 to the west, and the severed portion, the surplus farm dwelling on the 2.2 hectares. So we're creating 3 lots now out of the original 40.
Yes.
And if someone was to come forward, and again, notwithstanding that it's a surplus farm dwelling, if someone was to come forward and propose 2 lots out of the original 40, we wouldn't allow it. So that's why I'm saying, here we are. It's not going to make the situation worse, but if somebody was to propose building a house on the east 20 hectares, they'd be allowed to do that. Correct?
If I may, through the chair, they would need variances to build in the A1 zone on a 20-hectare lot, because the minimum lot size in the A1 zoning is 40 hectares. So they would need a variance to build on that other side. But you're correct. The question would be whether that the rezoning or a variance could be granted to allow a house on that other side. I mean, if they own both, I don't know whether this is part of their plans, but they could merge the retained lot with the other half that they already own. I don't know whether that follows their business plan, but then that would be one big 40-hectare parcel. You could try a condition on like that, but maybe they want to keep them separate. Depends on our perspective. These 20-hectare parcels could be farmed by all sorts of different people all around the township. In this case, we have the owner of both sides of it. So I guess we just didn't really see that because it complied with the township official plan that there was any real impact. But the mayor is correct in pointing out that it would not be granted a severance now, except for a surplus farm severance. And in the case of the county, it would have to be a 40-hectare or 100-acre parcel to start with.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Before I get to Joan and Jason, Ken, do you have anything to add?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I think Bill's kind of summed up the situation. I think Mayor Milne's question was quite good, because I've actually had to draw a diagram out myself to kind of do the math. This is where we see situations of evolution of policy. So if you think back to the original parcel, it may have been, it quite likely was subdivided into the 2 20-acre parcels before the county had this policy in place. And so you see that happen. Lots of record are created across the county over time that then policy changes and they don't meet certain requirements, but yet provincial policy does allow for things like a surplus farm dwelling. So then you get into this scenario of, okay, well, we may be ending up creating 3 lots, but that wouldn't necessarily be allowable today. But because of a decision that happened pre-existing policy, this is the dynamic that we're in. I think in terms of the county's concern, as Bill noted, we've dealt with this situation or a situation similar before. And we're able to find a compromise. And so I think from our perspective, if the committee is concerned about the county's comments, we can do what we did the last time, which was when this came up, the item was deferred. We went and talked to the county and came to some resolution. And you can defer the matter back to us and we can do that again, because that's basically what happened in the file that Bill mentioned previous. And we're happy to do that.
Okay, Joan?
Thank you, through the chair. Brian actually asked one of my questions, so I got that answered. I was a little bit concerned too. I am also want to know if the county have a different policy and Southgate have a different policy, if we can have two different policies on the same lot of land. But you kind of explained some of that just now too, because that's what I was getting from the municipality, from the county, and from the township. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Jason? Oh, sorry,
Mr. Chair,
Ken?
if I could, and Bill can jump in if I maybe get this a bit off. But to your question, Councillor John, the county sets countywide policy, and then we set policy obviously for the township. I think it's, at least in my opinion, it's unusual that that there's policy related to a surplus farm dwelling severance size. That is unusual, because usually what you'll see, at least in my experience, is that you'll set a maximum size for the parcel where the surplus farm dwelling would be on, because provincial policy speaks to taking only what you need out of the productive farmland for that house to be put on, and then leave as much productive farmland in the remnant. This is a case where there's a size set for the whole thing, which is a bit unusual. I'm not sure if Bill has seen this in his experience, but for me, it's unusual. And I think frankly, we have one interpretation from one situation. This is similar, but we've gotten a different interpretation. And this is the challenge we're in.
Okay, Jason, then Barb?
Bill actually asked my question. I know the farm, it's not too far from me. It's all one big field, but it was divided years ago. I just wondered if the applicant would merge it back together, and then we'd only have the one lot. I just wondered if she wanted to comment on that.
When we bought it and then saw that it was the two lots, we decided to keep them separate. We would have to, I guess it would be possible. It is one field. So we can talk about that as long as there's not some odd land transfer tax, or I'm not obviously an accountant, but I don't know how that works with merging lots, if there's a problem with some weird sort of huge fee or something like that. I don't know if I can put that in any more direct layman's terms.
Thank you, Emily.
Yeah, but it is all farmed as one. It is really one piece of land. But we kept it as the two parcels because we just thought that would be nice, or I don't know, because that's how it was, so.
Fair enough. Barb?
Thank you, through you. And I too had the same question and concern about the 50 acres, the less than 20 hectares and the 20 hectares already having been severed in the county policy. We went to great lengths to object to the province's ability to have 3 lot severances per 100 acres because of the effect on farming, because of the effect on creating conflict between residential wells, residential nuisance odors, I do have a concern that just because there aren't livestock in the neighboring barns at the present time, that creating this additional severance could sterilize those barns for future livestock. So I'm not sure which has priority. You know, it's the barn exists and has the ability to have livestock. Do they have the right of to do so? I would suggest that we get better clarification. There's, yes, the county has a policy to govern severances across the entire county, and we can be more restrictive. But I didn't think that we could be more relaxed. So in my view, that when two lots are purchased by the same individuals, they can tend to merge automatically. And if they were merged, then it wouldn't change anything, but you'd still have the one severance. Can a certificate of cancellation or something happen easily for the applicant? They're already own both properties. They already farm the lot as one. I would be inclined to refer this back to staff to save it from failing. Maybe it won't, and allow the applicant to look at other options that are economically feasible, but also achieve the same result.
Okay, thank you. With that said, are there any in attendance that would like to speak in support of? Seeing none here, are there any others in attendance that would like to speak in opposition of this application? And seeing none on the screen and in the...
Can I make one more comment?
You certainly may, Emily.
Yeah, thank you. I guess I would say that there's a house there, and it's not going to, if somebody lives there, it's not going to prohibit somebody else from, because theoretically housing is in short supply, so somebody should always be living there, whether it's severed or not. So it shouldn't prevent somebody across the road from putting up a livestock barn no matter what. It's not a new build. On the other 50, you will not grant a severance on it either way, whether it's severed or not, because of most of it's marshland. And the fellow on your that is familiar with the farm can probably attest to that. Like, it's, you can't, I think there's 8 acres there that's marshland that you can't build on the other half on the road frontage. So it in itself is not a threat to being severed again because it's protected marshland. So those comments just came to my mind, but we can also go down the road of looking at other options. But I just wanted to make that comment.
Okay, thank you. And again, committee members, any more discussion? Jason?
I just wondered if we could get more clarity, I don't know, from Ken or Bill, how easy is it to merge it back together? I don't, maybe I missed that, but.
If I may, it's easy when they own both. They would come back for a cancellation certificate, because I'm imagining that there's a consent stamp issued on that lot. So as was outlined in Alicia's report, once a severance, always a severance. That's the rules, the old school rules. So, but since they own both, it's pretty easy to merge. But as for issues that the applicant pointed out about land transfer tax and business plan and how that works into how they operate and that sort of thing, I can't provide any information on that, but it's pretty easy to make them join it. You'd have to put a condition on the retained lot, which doesn't happen all the time, but it's not unprecedented, but it is possible. And what you'd end up with would be the surplus farm house separate, and the retained lot would be merged to the adjacent lot, which is owned by the same applicant. So yeah, it's not a difficult procedure through the administration and through the Planning Act, but it has business implications. And I think rather than agreeing to something that they don't necessarily want to just yet, it might be better to defer it, and they can think about it, and we can talk to the county and work something out.
Art?
I move we defer. I move we defer
Okay.
so that it provides the applicant an opportunity to explore other options.
Yeah, I would not like to see it refused. Do I have a seconder for deferring this file? Joan? Okay. Lindsay, do I have to, because it's deferred, I don't have to read all and that be resolved because it doesn't apply.
No, so the
anyway.
motion to defer would be in place of that,
Okay.
yeah.
So to defer, we have a mover and a seconder, all in favor? And that is carried. So the notice of decisions from today's meeting will be signed electronically by members and distributed accordingly by the Planning Act.
With the exception of the.
And the committee, yeah, no worries. The committee decisions may be appealed pursuant to section 17D of the Planning Act within 20 days of the date of the notice to the Ontario Land Tribunal. And may I ask for a motion to adjourn? Oh, all hands, Jim and Barb. And we are done at 9:48. Thank you very much.